Indian lawmakers have moved toward tougher punishment for rapists, including the death penalty, nearly 3 months after a 23-year-old student was fatally gang raped on a bus in New Delhi. The case sparked outrage both inside India and abroad.
Under the nation's existing laws, a rapist faces a term of only 7 to 10 years. VOA's New Delhi correspondent Aru Pande has been reporting on the changes and talked with On Assignment's Doug Bernard. Let's start with a look at one of her reports.
Ever since the December 16th gang rape and subsequent death of a young woman in New Delhi, protesters have been gathering in the capital on a regular basis to make sure their voices are heard. New Delhi is infamously known as the rape capital of India, with 706 incidents recorded in 2012 by the National Crime Records Bureau, the highest in a decade. And despite recent demonstrations and the implementation of an anti-rape ordinance, university student Manjusha Madhu says she's not seen much of a difference when it comes to women's safety.
More and more cases of sexual assault and rape that's happening all over the country, and it does not seem to have stopped, changed. Nothing seems to have changed.
Aru Pande, now here you are in New Delhi, a major international city. What's it like for you, say, to just take a walk down the streets? What are the kinds of things that would happen?
You definitely notice a difference when you walk down the street. Men do stare. I haven't had anyone do anything inappropriate with me, but in terms of, there's definitely a very male-dominated society. So even in a big city, even with so many people, so many women who are working, there's definitely an extra awareness that I have as a woman here in New Delhi, and I just came here about 2 months ago. But the women I've talked to, the women that have taken part in these protests, say they basically they're not free to be themselves. They have to think twice when they walk out the door. What am I wearing? Am I wearing something that's showing my legs? Am I wearing something that's too tight? Is it something that's going to draw stares? They literally don't feel like they can be themselves, and they feel like they have to restrict themselves in order to not get any unwanted attention.
You get stared at, you get abusive comments hurled at you, sexually abusive comments. If you get into any form of public transport and there are men around, they feel free to, grope you, rub up against you. It's there everywhere. It's there in the workplace with the colleagues whom you're supposed to trust.
What's strange, though, is we're talking about 1/2 of the population. I mean, I guess I don't really fully understand how, are all women potential targets or only certain kinds of women?
No, it's a patriarchal society. It's a society in South Asia where it's been male-dominated, where women, for the most part, have been at home. Now, you see so many women are going out, they're working for multinational companies. A lot more young people are out there, and so the mindset has to change.
In terms of freedom, Swati Verma is not asking for much more than the ability to be herself.
Just to be able to walk on the street wearing what I want to wear and not be stared at. I mean, that's a privilege. Most of the times when we go out here, we have to be very conscious of what we're wearing because all the eyes, men and women's, are on us.
So, Aru, there are people in the streets, there are people in the government, everyone that you've talked to in all your pieces, everybody agrees this is awful. How come it continues?
Right. Well, there are two factors. One is making sure that measures are in place to protect women are actually enforced. And that was the big problem before. You had cases where police wouldn't even write down cases of rape. And that goes back to the patriarchal mentality. And so now there's this new awareness that police need to write down every single report of whether it be sexual assault, whether it be any kind of crime against women. So it's enforcing laws that are in place. It's also punishing crimes. 24,000 cases are languishing in Supreme Court and high courts because the justice system is slow here. So they put in place 6 fast-track courts here in New Delhi. This was spurred by the gang rape. So a lot of it is enforcement, bringing justice, but again, it goes back to changing the mindset of the people. And I think if the younger generations continue to take to the streets and make sure that this issue should not be forgotten, I think slowly, maybe people will realize what a problem it is and how it should be dealt with. So I think it's a combination of many factors.
And Aru Pande is VOA's new correspondent in New Delhi. She talked with On Assignment's Doug Bernard.